Hey, hey, hey! My name is Tammy. I'm a human being, and in today's video, I am going to show you how I created this beautiful card trick quilt block using my AccuQuilt 6-inch Go Cube set. Okay, before we get into the really fun part about this block, let's go through the boring stuff first. Okay, so the name of the block is called the card trick. I use my 6-inch Go Cube die set, and in particular, I used dies 3 and 4. This block is on a 3x3 grid or a 9-patch block, and I'll show you what that means in just a second. And it finishes to 9 inches. Here's the finished block. And let me break down the units in this block so that you can understand what I mean by a 3x3 grid or a 9-patch block. So here we have one unit. Here's the second one. Here's the third one. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So this is what's meant by a 3x3. So 1, 2, 3 by 1, 2, 3, and 3 times 3 equals 9. And that's how I came up with that measurement. So stay tuned, and I'm going to show you all the elements I cut out using my 6-inch Go Cube set, particularly dies 3 and 4. So this is die 4, and die 4 is quarter square triangles. And this is die 3, and die 3 are the half square triangles. So when I first saw some examples of the card trick block, I saw various versions of fabric uses. I saw some blocks that only had 2 colors, and then I found this block which has 4 colors. So I decided to go big or go home and challenge myself and see if I could really complete it using 4 different colors. So what I've done here is I've cut out 2 of shape number 3 for each color, and these are half square triangles. And then I've cut out 2 of each color for shape number 4, which are the quarter square triangles. Now, when I placed my fabric on top of die number 4, I ended up cutting out 4, but I'm only using 2 for this block. I cut out 4 of my cream color from die number 4, and then I cut out 4 of my half square triangles from die number 3. So stay tuned. I'm going to piece together all of these elements into their respective units and show you how I orientate those units so that we come up with this finished block. Stay tuned. I've assembled all 9 units that are used to complete the card trick quilt block. So all the elements have been sewn together in their proper color orientation. And just as far as sewing order is concerned, what I did was I sewed together the 4 half square triangle units that went to the corner. And then what I did was I placed the 4 on my design board like this. And the reason why I did that is because this is called the card trick. And if you do not sew your units or sew your elements together properly, when you try to rotate them to complete the block, you will become quickly frustrated because you'll realize no matter how you rotate it, it's just not right. And then you'll have to undo your seams and sew it all together again. So after I completed these 4 end units, I then went ahead and sewed together the quarter square triangles that go in this area here. So let me show you what that looks like. So once I was done with piecing together these corner half square triangles, I pieced together these quarter square triangles and I pressed my seams open. Once I was done piecing together the quarter square triangles, all 4, so I did these 2, these 2, these 2, and these 2, or these 2, sorry. Then after that, I pressed my seams open, and then I added this half square triangle to the quarter square triangles. But before I did that, I took my design board And I made sure that these quarter square triangles, when they were pieced together to equal a half square triangle, I placed them on this design board to, again, ensure that the orientation was correct. And look at me, I've already rotated one the wrong way. You see? Boom. That's how it's supposed to look. So once I did that, I said, okay, so the cards are going in the correct order. The hardest one was this last piece here. And so these are 4 quarter square triangles. And so once I had all of the quarter square triangles attached to their appropriately colored half square triangle, only then did I take those 4 quarter square triangles and place them on my design board. So if you can imagine like these just being 4 different colors, and I just placed them in order. So I put the blue here, the pink here, purple, and green. And then from there, I pieced together these 2 to equal a half square triangle and these 2 to equal a half square triangle. I pressed my seams open. And then once they were half square triangles, I put them back on the design board to make sure I had the orientation proper. And then I pieced both of the half square triangles together to complete that center unit. So my experience with making this block is that there is some chain piecing that you can do, but I totally recommend getting yourself a design board and just doing it slowly, making sure that you piece these 4 corners together, place them on your design board, and then go back in and do your quarter square triangles and then add the half square triangles and do this one last. I did not have to undo any of these seams because I actually took my time to do it in this method. So this block is really a card trick. So I had my 9 different units, and then the next step was to, or is to, piece together 3 of your units to create columns or rows. Typically, I like the orientation of rows like this, but for whatever reason, once I pieced these together and I turned it this way and I compared it to my finished block, I was trying to, let's see if I can replicate it. Actually, it just worked. I turned it all around and voila, it matches. So this is the finished block, and now I have rows versus columns. But as you can see, if you sew them together properly, no matter how you rotate it, you'll either end up with columns or rows, and then when you piece them together, you'll have your finished block. So my next step is to go ahead and I'm going to fold these 2 like this. I am going to very carefully turn it this way, and then I will put it through my machine and do my 1/4 inch seam here. And as you can see, I've pressed all my seams open. I used starch and I used a clapper to get them nice and flat. So then once this is pieced together and the seams are pressed open, then it'll look like this, but it'll be pieced together. And then this will be pieced together, and then I would take this section, piece it here, place my seam this way, and again, 1/4 inch seam, press the seams open, trim it up, and then what you will end up with is, ta-da, an actual card trick block. Again, the hardest part of this, I would say, is to just take your time and piece each unit together, lay it out on a design board so that this center 1/4 square triangle unit is rotated properly. Because again, I'll show you the back because everything is pressed open, but this center 1/4 triangle unit, if I were to piece this blue next to that purple and this pink next to the green, when I try to orientate this in the block formation, no matter which way you turn it, it just wouldn't look right. So just take your time with that. Thank you so much for joining me today. I feel very winded doing this one because it feels like I've said several things over and over. So thank you for watching till the end. I would love it if you would consider subscribing and liking the video and coming to join me for a next one. Until then, bye.